So, you wanted to see how Frazzlehead knits. I'll show you the details in a minute, but this is about my normal knitting pace. So, although it's not continental, it's not horribly slow. And you'll notice that I don't ever actually set down my working yarn. It's wrapped around my right hand. You'll also notice that both hands are active in moving the needles. The index and fingers and thumbs of both hands are involved in the procedure. So I'll slow down so you can see. What I've got, the yarn is around my hand like this. I pick it up by looping it around my index finger, under my pinky, and then up over my middle finger. So it makes this kind of scoop. That is where it stays, is over this knuckle right here. I'll hold it in place with my thumb while I wrap, just so that it doesn't slide off, but all the rest of the time, it's just resting on that knuckle, while these two fingers on both hands are free to do the needle manipulation. So to pick up the yarn, like that, like that, like that. Around and through. So you knit stitch from the front to the back, lift this, go around, and then you're not going to have a death grip on the yarn because you let go with your thumb, so you're not pinching it anymore. And you can see, well, maybe you can't see, but it'll slide through as the stitch comes off. The yarn actually scoots up a little bit over the finger. So the tension is automatically kept smooth. So we pick up the yarn, around and under, and as the stitch comes off, it just slides through your finger. Now we need a yarn over right here, and a knit stitch, and another yarn over, and then we're just going to knit to the end, and then I'll show you what the purl stitch looks like. I'm pulling off a center pull ball at my side here, so if it gets a little bit sticky and I'm finding that it's not coming loose enough, I'll just do that, give it a tug so that I have loose yarn. You know that your tension is too tight if your pinky finger gets cold. Then sometimes the tip of your finger can get cold, and that'll tell you that you've got a death grip on your yarn here and you're strangling that little finger. I used to have that problem a lot at the beginning when I started knitting. I like this because it's smooth, the tension is nice and even. My best fingers for working are always free to work with the needles, but I never lose hold of my yarn. Now we're going to turn over and do purl. Slip that first stitch because we need a smooth edge. Pick up the yarn, and then we come through the stitch this way, around and down. It's the same thing as what you were doing for the knit. The hand motions are almost identical, except that it's in front of the left needle instead of behind it. So you're going to scoop up the purl stitch, pick up your yarn, do the wrap, let it go back under, scoop up the purl stitch, and notice that I hold the needle between these two fingers to support it. I don't always have to do it with straights. With circs and DPNs you pretty much always have to. But it gives you that stability, and then the yarn just kind of slides under your thumb while your fingers move that off the needle. So again, slowly up, around, down, and off. So I am completely self-taught, and this is a very strange way of holding the yarn. I've never seen anyone else do it quite the way I do. But it works, and I get even tension. I don't have laddering issues between my DPNs when I am going from one DPN to the next. It's just a question of making sure that your needles are crossed properly and giving an extra tug on the first and second stitch of the needle that you've switched to. And that's about it. So, no cold fingers, no setting down your yarn, and since I am stunningly right-handed, and my left hand is not very bright, I can't convert my left hand I can't teach it to do continental knitting. I've sort of tried, but my tension goes all over the place. And this works, and I find that it's fast enough. So here's my usual purling pace. You can see that it's almost the same as my usual knitting pace, because the motions are the same. So yes, unlike continental knitting or the flick knitting, It's not quite as quick, and there is a little bit more motion involved. My hands move a little bit further distance than they would in the continental or the flick knitting or the Peruvian knitting. But I don't find it to be too much, and it's quick, my tension's even, it's comfortable, it works for me. So there you are, frazzle-handed knitting. Like that.